Yo everybody, what's going on? This is Keegan from Kman Reviews. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit that like and the subscribe button, and if you have any opinions at all that you would like to share, make sure to leave them down in the comment section. Set It Off, Elsewhere. Set It Off are an American pop rock group, one of my all-time favorite bands. Been listening to them since Duality back in 2014, one of my all-time favorite albums, but I haven't given them too much attention here on my channel. The only full-length album review I've done of theirs is of Upside Down from 2016, which you can check out via the link in the corner. However, we're going to change that with the band's latest album, as of recording this video, Elsewhere. I cannot explain to you how hyped I've been for this album, so let's not waste any more time, let's just dive in. What are my thoughts on Elsewhere? Let's find out as I review it track by track. We will start with the singles, with there being 3 of them. The first being the opener, Skeleton, which I actually have a full-length track review on, also link in the corner. But if you want the TLDR version, I think this track is a phenomenal amalgamation of the band's best attributes, clean vocal work from Cody through and through, an extremely catchy pop rock jam, and one of my favorite tracks the band has ever released. The second single, Projector, actually took me a decent bit of time to fully appreciate. I thought the way Cody sang the chorus was a bit clunky, the extremely fast rapping on the second verse felt a bit forced and unnatural, but I've grown to enjoy the grandiose feeling of the song, especially noticeable on the chorus with booming horns and robust strings. The verses are in typical Set It Off rapping fashion. It doesn't give the same kind of grimy, pointing fingers quality that Hypnotized had. It feels a lot more like public exposure of this figure. Speaking of that, what I can muster from these lyrics are about someone who is projecting their emotions, which is basically a defensive bullying mechanism by pushing their own mental struggles and introspective imperfections onto someone else. Still, probably my least favorite single, but it's a good song regardless. And the third and final single, Who's in Control, much like Skeleton, is honestly a highlight in the band's entire career. I absolutely adore Max's marching drumming technique. The guitar riffing is very dark and brooding. Cody's amazing oblique vocal harmony for the pre-chorus, and the chorus itself has a magnetizing intensity with the deep tuba melody. I think it's a tuba, but it's a little bit hard to tell. However, the way Cody smoothly rides this beat is wondrous. Plus, the brief, rich vocal effect added to the end of his lines for the verses is so instantly sticky that I just cannot get them out of my head. Lyrically, it's also similar to Skeleton in that I believe it's a critique of the music industry, most notably in the first line of the song, "Opened up my box and pulled the strings, am I just a musical machine for ransom?" It's a fantastic song, but let's see how the rest of the album compares. Now for the rest of the tracks. Cut Off opens up in a very breezy and light manner. The carefree whistling to kick off the song almost had me worried that this was going to be a cheesy, overly poppy song, even with Cody's very catchy delivery for the verses, honestly one of the catchiest moments on the entire album. Thankfully, though, that chorus completely shattered my expectations, being very similar to Who's in Control, most notably with that same tuba melody to flesh out the beat a bit more, along with the shaking hi-hat, snappy percussion, and energizing charisma from Cody. Plus, I adore the bridge and that satisfying rising build-up before the final chorus. Lyrically, I'm pretty sure this track is meant to be cutting off someone you don't really want to be around anymore. It's a topic Set It Off have done many times over, but there's something about how militant these songs come off that make me come back every time. Really like this one. Loose Cannon is one of my favorite songs the band has ever released, and I think that might be because this track radiates energy from the Duality era, but with a catchier, almost carnival-esque vibe. It's amazing. I love the scratchy synth, the rupturing drums, the scornful harmonizing na-na-na-nas in the chorus. Plus, I have not heard Cody yell this aggressively in the chorus since Cinematics even. It's truly an invigorating performance that always gets me in a liberated mood. Lyrically, the song seems to be about this person who pushes Cody to his breaking point. He's about to take matters into his own hands and in an unpredictable fashion. Can't praise the song enough. One of my favorites again. Why Do I is the first introduction of the predominantly poppy style that Set It Off seemed to embrace wholeheartedly on Upside Down, and this really feels like it could have fit snug in that track list. Very clean vocals, the drums have a retro embedded snap to them, the bass line is very funky, there's horns in the post-chorus, and the bridge even features a breakdown led by group clapping. I'm sure most people wouldn't care for this, but considering the mostly rock-oriented first leg of the record so far, the poppiness here is almost a welcome change in tone, especially since there isn't too much else that comes close to sounding this poppy. So it really stands out in the record, and it's a pretty nice song to boot. As Good As It Gets is another poppy track. There's a lot of radio-friendly elements here. The submerged guitar riff, plenty of differing vocal effects for ad-libs, the na-na-nas on the chorus, the drums have a hearty pound to them and feel very anthemic, but I really love the prominence of the bass line. It's not as funky as on Why Do I, but it's still a fun addition. One thing I'm yet to get over of this track though is the out of place vocoded outro. It goes on for a decent length and just feels like a weird extra tacked on for no reason. I do like the lyrics here though, which I'm assuming is about getting to a certain height as an artist and worrying, is this as good as it's ever gonna get? You're never gonna get any higher, wondering if you peak too soon. It's still a good song, but is one of the lesser favorites for me. Taste of the Good Life is one of the most unique tracks in the band's entire discography. It perfectly balances the line between genres. It's got an extremely catchy chorus accented by gritty guitar work and intense strings, as the verses have these springy synths, multi-layered vocal harmonies. It's hard to categorize this track under any one genre without there being at least one discrepancy, and all those features combined really help the track stand out. Out of all the songs on the album, this is the one that would always be lingering in my mind. It's fun and captivating. Lyrically, this track really seems to be taking jabs at celebrity culture and how some people can really let the fame get to their heads and start becoming arrogant and self-centered, ultimately falling from grace after a taste of the good life. Love this track. Why Not Me is surprisingly mellow given that title. It's not a hard rocker, not really a bop. The verses are very subdued, and Cody sings them with an almost vainglorious undertone, perfectly fitting these lyrics about how it's great that your friends are all succeeding and reaching new heights, but you're going down the same path, so why aren't you getting that same treatment? The motivational chorus is perfectly backed up by gritty guitar, stamping percussion, and an infectious performance from Cody. As a result, I think the calmer verses almost throw off the vibe of the song. It's a heavy come down from the energizing chorus. Still a pretty good track, but if I had to pick a least favorite on the record, it would probably be this one. Dangerous exudes a similar kind of brazen confidence that Forever Stuck in Our Youth did, however with a bit more rock-centered and grittier edge. However, where that song was much more about living life to the fullest and always being a young, impetuous soul at heart, Dangerous almost has a sprinkle of audaciousness thrown in. It's bold and it's proud. The drums are pounding, the bass is rumbling, Cody sings with a snarky yet poised charisma. It's got an infectious energy. I do kind of wish the track went on for a bit longer. It's the shortest on the album at just over 2 minutes, and I would have loved to hear some loud bridge in the vein of Wolf in Sheep's Clothing or something. I don't know, it's still a fun song though. Cordial definitely has one of the most tense openings on the entire record, with the looming onslaught of strings ripping into the song, only to get muted down as Cody starts singing over them in his quieter, almost intimidating cadence. But aside from that, it's a pretty solid pop rock song. Really feels like it could have fit on Midnight with the cleaner rock chorus. With Cody's glossy vocal delivery, he doesn't really do anything out of the ordinary here, plucky riffing, satisfying bass work, and pretty solid drums as well, but I do like the intensity inoculated by that string work. It helps the track stand out so much more, and I enjoy it. The Magic 8 is an instant highlight on the record from the moment that funky bass comes in, and that feeling does not go anywhere. Every part of the song is gratifying, sticky, and memorable. Cody's delivery sounds like he's almost giving a counseling session. It feels very personal and direct. The pre-chorus is extremely smooth as it leads up to this explosive chorus with Max's drumming flooding the mix as Cody sings much louder. There's also some deep brass to close out the chorus as the bridge is very angelic and light, beautifully transitioning into that final chorus. Lyrically, the track seems to follow in the similar footsteps that Taste of the Good Life does, where the protagonist in the story gets a break of fame, but instead of throwing it away with ill-chosen decisions, this person seems unsure about what to do and where to go next, relying on this magic 8-ball to decide how their scenarios look. Love the song. Playing with Bad Luck gives me the same kind of vibes like As Good As It Gets does. However, this one feels like it could have fit in Midnight's tracklist. It doesn't really have anything mind-blowing going on aside from the chorus almost being a bit grungier. The riffs have a bit more meat to them. The drums slap with a lot of vigor. The singing from both Cody and this backup group vocalist is powerful. The verses are very simple, muted riffs and simple drumming, but the bass work is lovely. I really enjoy how chunky and prominent it is. Lyrically, I kind of get the vibe this could be one of two things. Either it's literally just about a partner who constantly eats at his mind, or he's personifying bad luck as this woman, and I think it is the latter, since there's zero mention of any person or love in general in the verses, and Cody just singing about how he just can't seem to catch a break in life. Either way, still a good track. Peekaboo has the same level of uneasy introduction that Cordial had. It has a gritty staccato riff, a looming atmosphere of oscillating horns and muffled percussion, as Cody sings with another catchy melody. The chorus, however, is definitely unique. It doesn't explode as a chorus like on the Magic 8 or Loose Cannon, it just kinda happens. The drums get slower and it almost becomes menacing in a way. After a few listens though, the childlike Peekaboo ad-libs do get a little bit annoying, but the song has the deluge of eerie vibes, which is some of my favorite aspects of Set It Off's music, especially present here on the post-chorus. That scratchy, staticky nursery rhyme delivery just makes me smile every time. Really good track. Catch a Break is the one song from this album that managed to escape my mind after listening to it, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's because it's a relatively standard track coming after a very solid stretch of songs and right before the incredible closer, which we'll get to in a bit. But there's nothing wrong with the song. In fact, I quite like the fluttering piano melody that lingers behind the instrumental of punchy drums and the bass undercurrent. Lyrically, it seems to have a pretty similar idea to Playing with Bad Luck, where Cody just can't seem to catch a break. His bad luck's always getting him down when things seem to go right. It's a pretty solid tune. And finally, the closer, Better Than This, is the typical set it off ballad that always either finish or appear near the end of the record. And I was very curious how this one would stack up in comparison, and I personally think this one's bottom 2 so far, above Me Without Us from Upside Down, but below Dad's song Miss Mysterious and Unopened Windows. However, that's far from saying it's a bad song. Sure, it may not be as emotionally striking as those other ones, but the piano and acoustics pair very nicely together along with this gorgeous wall of strings for the second chorus, as Cody sings passionately about desperately wanting to hold on to this relationship. He knows he's slipping up and knows he's gotta do better. Very nice way to end the album. Overall, I gotta say, this is my second favorite Set It Off album. I know I praised this shit out of Midnight back in 2019, but honestly, this album managed to surpass that. Lot of variety on here, but certainly the most rock-focused the band has been since Duality, but it still sticks to a lot of the poppier tropes of Upside Down and Midnight. It's a phenomenal combination of the band's best aspects, and while I can't say it's a perfect record, there are some characteristics here and there that are a bit irksome and confusing, but it's as close as the band has gotten since Duality, in my opinion. So, I'm feeling a 9.5 out of 10 on this album. Please check it out. Well guys, hope you enjoyed that review. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace!